Welcome back, race fans, to Off the Track podcast where you get the dirt. I'm Levi Ray Gotze, and as always, we are here at Blue Chip Technologies Racing Engines. We are a high-performance race engine shop located right here in Heltonville, Indiana, and today we have joining us on the show, Derek Groomer. Welcome, Derek.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you were able to get down here today and talk some dirt racing. So let's hear the story on how you got such an early start behind the wheel of racing.
It goes back to my brother always raced, so it was one of the things where as a kid growing up, my dad raced, so I was, as far as I can remember, I was pretty young, and I was going to the Bloomington Speedway to watch my dad, and then as that went on, my brother got into some go-kart racing there, so I always went and watched, and then I got to the age where I was playing a little sports, and I couldn't say I was the best at the sports,
Right.
And my old man asked me, he said, "Hey, you want to do some racing?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I've always wanted to," and we had an old spare go-kart sitting there in the garage, and he said, "Man, when you reach the pedals in that thing," he said, "you can race." So I went home every day after school trying to reach the
Stretch
pedals.
your legs.
Yeah, slid down further in his seat, and I was never close enough, So
Yeah.
one Saturday morning, my old man woke me up, and we went down to actually Jeff Bland's, and
Yeah.
he bought me my first go-kart, and
Okay.
I think a couple Saturdays after that, we hit the go-kart track, and I ain't stopped since.
Nice.
So
And your father, he ran, what division was he racing when you were a child?
he was running super stocks.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and then Denny Campbell drove a little bit for him, and
Yeah?
so it was one of them things where he drove a little bit, and then other guys would drive his stuff.
Okay.
So it was kind of neat.
That is cool. So your brother, I don't want to screw this up, but is it Ralph?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. I wasn't 100% sure on that, but I believe I remember him running a few times in the super stock division for the race up at Putnamville.
Yeah.
And I think it was a number 2 car.
Mhm.
Is that right?
He's driving which Slick Griffin used to drive.
That's what I thought. I just wasn't 100% sure on that. So you grew up. Your brother was a little older than you, I assume.
He's me and him was 10 years apart.
Okay, so watching him wheel a car and your father doing it, it definitely was in your blood to try to get behind the wheel. Then.
Yeah, it was. It was one of them things. And then my sister's husband, my brother-in-law, he got into the mix of it. So it was very a family associated deal there.
Right. So you ran carts, probably like Boggs and Bloomington Fairgrounds, places like that. I'm not even sure if the fairgrounds still had go-kart races when you were running carts.
It was basically just the fair races, So
Yeah.
we would run Boggs, and then we would run Linton. We went to Princeton. We traveled a little bit everywhere. I went to some WK and national races. I went to the Tulsa shoot out there at Oklahoma.
Wow.
And so
You guys were going around hitting some big shows.
Yeah, we done our fair share of traveling and racing. So.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like there was several of you that grew up in the carts at about the same time. Talking with you out in the office there before we got started. Sounds like Lance Grimes and, of course, Bradley Sterrett. You guys were all probably around the same age, growing up in the carts.
Then Jeffrey, and there was quite a few.
Several
Eric
Indians.
Smith and Josh Burton, just Chad Combs. All of us, we were all right there around the same age.
That's
in racing,
really cool. And now you guys are, all doing it in a big car.
Yeah, we all just, it seems like we all switched over right around the same time, too.
That's really cool.
We all traveled there at the same
and
time.
Now you and Chad are still running in the same division. So as the go-karts progressed, you were pretty young age. Sounds like you got going at like 5 or 6 years old, which is really young. How long did you run the carts?
I run the go-karts up until I was 12.
12 years old.
Yep.
And then you guys just jumped right into
I went into a super stock.
Super stock?
I ran a super stock for 1 year. Me and Josh actually went to the super stocks right around this. We went actually the same year. Me and Josh went to the super stocks together.
That's cool.
So
you did that for a year, and then I'm assuming you must have done fairly well to jump from a super stock straight into a modified right after the super stock division. Is that how it rolled?
we were pretty good. I never can say I won one in a street stock, but when I was running street stocks, you had Chris Hillman,
Yeah.
Gary Trammell. I mean, it wasn't no
Yeah.
easy shake, and
Right.
I was young myself. I was 12, my parents had to have me emancipated so I could even race. So
Right.
it was a tough road to go there, at Paragon and Brownstown and Bloomington. That's where we run. So
Mm-hmm.
it was hard. And we had our good times, and
Right.
I struggled a little bit, but it learned me the way to drive a bigger car there.
Right. Yeah, that's a great age to get, the seat time and to be able to move into a modified. It sounds like you were 13 years old driving a mod. So
Yeah, I was 13 my first year I got a modified, so I won a feature my first year in a modified. I won the Fun Fest down there at Lawrenceburg.
Is that right?
My first year driving a modified.
Wow.
So we were excited there, and
I bet.
the next few years we hit it pretty hard, and we struggled, but I was still young, so
Right.
I wasn't at my prime of driving yet, but I was learning things and
Yeah.
learning how to do things on the car myself, and to get me prepared for when I got a little older, and
Yeah.
so
That's really cool that you were able to pull off a win your first year in one, and especially at that age. I mean, there's tough competition in the modifieds, of course, and going to Lawrenceburg. Generally, the Fun Fest, I remember when it used to be held there, and
yeah.
everyone was there, so it wasn't like you went to, pick on anybody that was going to be easy to beat.
It was a good time. They had the what was it, the odd and even features. I won the odd and even feature on Friday night. I won the Saturday night special on Saturday, and I won the feature on Sunday. And my brother actually ran second to me.
Wow!
So it was a good weekend.
Really
for
good
us,
memories there. Well, I'm sure your dad and mom were thrilled to see that.
Oh yeah,
Watch
yeah.
you guys run first and second. That'll be a memory you guys will all always cherish. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it don't happen very often to be able to run 1-2.
No. So you guys have pretty well, at the age of 13, you get behind the wheel, you run the mods, and you've ran them this entire time. So clearly you got to love them to stay, in that class for that many years. So how many years would that be now then? I have no idea how old you are.
I'm 29 now.
29.
Yep.
So, yeah, like 13 years or
Yep.
so. Well, that's great. Well, that's a lot of years to, that kind of explains why you're as good as you are. Watching you run, whether you're at Bloomington or Putnamville, Brownstown, you guys always perform really well, and you guys always have a great looking car, and you make it look easy a lot of times. So comes with a lot of experience. So
yeah, it's took a lot of time.
yeah,
I feel now, like right from now until I get a little older, I feel like I'm in my prime. So
yeah.
it's took me quite a few times to get to where I'm at. So.
Right. So how many shows would you guys typically run as you were that age, younger, starting out? Were you guys trying to just stay local and run 15 to 20 shows a year, or were you traveling around a little bit even at that age?
We'd travel some, we would try to at least get 20 to 25 races in a year.
That's great.
It was kind of hard back then because, I had a truck and a trailer, and my brother had a truck and trailer, so we would try to both go the same places. But, if he wanted to race somewhere different, it was further for me. I'd just go and help him. So I didn't get to race as much as he did.
Right.
So.
And now, is he still driving today, or?
Yeah, he still drives the Super Stock for the Slicks car. So,
okay.
So.
That's great. So as far as you were growing older, you guys decided we're going to get out here and hit some big shows and travel around a little more. And you guys have ran a lot of tracks all over Indiana, but how far away do you guys typically travel on any given weekend? Do you try to stay local, or are you guys traveling out and hitting bigger shows? Or
we'll travel out. We'll go to Florence, Kentucky, Lawrenceburg. There in 2011. I went to Lawrenceburg every weekend. I won the track championship there at Lawrenceburg, and so we were hit it. And then we've been to Bargersville when they Bardstown there when they still had that. We went there some.
That was a half mile, right?
Yeah. Then we've been to Portsmouth. So we made our fair travels in places, and we used to go down to Florida in February. So
Yeah.
we backed off it. We just
So you guys would go down and hit like East Bay or yeah. Well, that had to be good times. I mean,
it
when
was
you
fun.
can't run here,
Yeah.
why not go?
We just got tired of bringing home a bunch of tore up race cars. It was
Right.
always hard on us, so we backed off of it. I think I'm gonna try it again this year coming
Yeah.
up. So
Well, that'd be cool. So you guys started really dominating there. I mean, you had to be in your probably early 20s. You seemed like you really had your stuff working good, and as far as a driver getting to the point where you felt like you was on top of your game. I know how many wins you've already got, but so it's around 89. Is that correct?
Yeah.
In a modified. I mean, that's a lot of wins.
we got. It seemed like we got rolling really good there in 2011. We made a car change. We started running a Shaw by Landers, and my brother got one first, and then I still had a Pierce car, and so I told my dad he looked like he was going good, and I said, man, I'd like to try one of them, and
Yeah.
we done a little trading with Brock Burton, and I traded around and traded. I had a new Pierce car, and he had a new Shaw, and he didn't like it, and I didn't like my Pierce car, so we traded up, and I got that Shaw car, and that's when I ended up winning the track championship at Lawrenceburg. I won 15 races that year, and I won the Harley race at Brush Creek,
Okay.
the 10,000 and the Harley,
Wow.
or whatever way you wanted to take it. So
Yeah. So what'd you take?
I took
the cash.
I took the Harley.
Did you?
Yep.
There you go. You still got it?
Yep.
Nice.
So-
Well, that's a heck of a trophy.
Yeah, it was pretty neat, and that's when I won it. They asked me, you want 10,000 or the Harley, and I told them it wasn't my pick. I didn't
Yeah.
own the race car; it was my dad's. So
There you
whatever
go.
my dad wanted, and my mom wanted to take the money, and my dad looked at me and said, "You talked about the Harley." He said, "We'll go ahead and take the Harley." So
Yeah.
we went ahead and took it, and
That's
I still
great.
got it to this day.
Wow, that's really cool. I mean, that'd be something to hang on to. You guys will always have that.
Yeah, it's just it don't have no miles on it. I think it has 200 miles on it, so
Wow.
it just sits in the garage.
Yeah.
But it's something to look at and say
Yeah.
that you won. So
Absolutely. Well, that's a heck of an accomplishment right there. I mean, to be able to win a track championship at Lawrenceburg, I mean, that, let alone, that's something to be talked about. I mean, that track is, it's fun. I've actually not driven on it since it's been changed.
Oh, really?
So I think the last time I was there was like, I want to say 99 or something. It had been a long time since
Yeah.
I've been there, but we drive by it often, and I keep saying we need to go down there and try to hit that place at least once
Yeah.
this coming summer, because all I've heard is great things about it, how much fun it is. So it'd definitely be something we try to knock off our bucket list.
yeah, it's definitely fun, especially since they've made it bigger. And
Right.
I always go every year to go to the Merle Downey, so
Okay.
that's always a good one to go to.
Yeah. So what would you have to say as far as large track versus small track? What's your favorite? Do you like the half miles, or you like?
I'm kind of a half mile kind of.
Yeah.
I like them. Eldor's fun. We go up
Right.
there and run some. So
Yeah, I think you guys was over there this past summer. When we got there, it rained
Yeah.
on us. Yeah. Then it finally dried up enough that they were able to get the show in. I wasn't sure how often you guys went over there, but there was a few local guys there that night. I think Tim Rivers was also there, and maybe a few other guys, but I don't even remember how you ended up. But
I ended up getting tore up in
Yeah.
the heat race. So.
it happens. Yeah, that's a fun place, though. The half miles is definitely a lot of fun. As far as down at Florence, that's one track I've never had the opportunity to go to. I'd like to try to make it down there sometime this summer too. I know a lot of guys in our area seem like they try to run there, so I'm assuming it's a good time and a nice facility. I've been able to watch it on YouTube, but outside of that, I mean, it looks fast. So
Oh, it's definitely fun. We always try to go down to the north-south.
yeah,
That's when we always get down. You can go run 2 or 3 days, and it's just fun.
right. Well, what would you have to say as far as all the tracks that you ran on would be your favorite?
I'd have to lean towards. I like Lawrenceburg a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Right. I know you guys run Putnamville quite a bit, or you were at least 2015, 2016, it seemed like. I don't know how often you guys were hitting it last year as far as 2019 race season.
We hit it quite a few times there
Yeah.
early in the year, and then I started running Brownstown. So
Yeah. what made you guys make the switch to go to Brownstown? Just
There was a couple bad calls I didn't agree with. So
yeah, okay.
I just kind of shook it off and went my own way.
Well, there you go.
So
yeah, it happens. The guy gets frustrated. There's plenty of dirt tracks to go to.
Exactly. So.
Well, there you go. So, who's your biggest supporter on the modified?
I'd have to say my dad.
Yeah,
My
he's
dad
been
and my
behind
mom.
you 100%. Yeah, both of them, clearly. So, you guys have got an amazing-looking rig and car. Every weekend you guys roll in, you look like you're on top of your game, and you guys have a lot of great sponsors backing you up, too. So, who all's on the car as far as for the 2020 race season coming up?
I kept the same. Well, last year my dad's always owned my race car, and me and him, and up until last year, the Milk and Smiles, I drive for him now. So he owns all of our stuff, and
is that right?
we own our hauler, and the race car and stuff's his, and I drive for him now. So
well, that's cool.
So definitely him. He stands behind me no matter what I do, and he's a big supporter. And
he has been for a while.
Yeah, it used to be General Dennis, but then he bought the practice out, and now he's himself. So
yeah.
He really stands behind me. So
yeah, I'm trying to remember his actual name.
Daniel Milliken.
Yeah, Daniel.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He does good work. I know I've been in his office and had some dental work taken care of and seen your car in there, and I think that's kind of how me and him got talking about you. And I knew he'd been doing it, sponsoring you guys for a while, but I had no idea that he was actually the owner of the car now.
Yep.
So that's really cool. So he must enjoy going and watching, and
he don't get to go a whole lot. He does a lot with his family. So
yeah.
But anytime that he can get away or somewhere close to home, there he'll try to gander over and watch us. And,
that's cool.
But he really likes racing himself. So
yeah,
that makes it fun for all of us.
Well, yeah, it makes a good team.
Yeah.
And he's right. His practice is right there in Bloomington. I know there for a while. One of his locations was right on 2nd Street, I believe.
He's still there.
2nd, is that Rogers? Am I thinking right?
Yeah.
Or is that right?
Yeah.
Something like that. But so is that the only location they have?
Now, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I know whenever I was in there, he was busy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he does good work. He stays busy at what he does. So.
Yeah, he's a nice guy too. I mean, just laid back. You can have just a down-to-earth conversation with the guy, so that's cool.
Yep.
So who all helps you guys as far as maintaining the cars? Is it you guys keep your car and your brother's car in the same shop?
No, we just got, my brother still has a modified, but he doesn't. He's got into his boy running quarter midgets, so that takes a lot of his time. Both my nephews actually run quarter midgets now, my sister's boy and my brother's boy, so
wow,
they do that, and so he doesn't get to play with these modified much. So we just got our car there, and then his street stock, they keep it up at the guy that owns it, which would be Slick's son, John Dome. So that's where they keep it.
Yeah,
they work on it. He gets to show up and drive.
That's great. Well, that's good. That's really cool that he's able to wheel the car for that family, and I'm sure it means a lot to them.
Yeah.
And I know when I've seen him drive it, I'm pretty sure it was at Putnamville. He drives the wheels off of it. So.
Yeah, he finally they have a Slick Griffin Memorial, and I think not last year, but the year before that, he won it for
I thought so.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
I think I remember seeing that on Facebook. So that would have been 2018.
Yep.
Yeah. So. Yeah, we weren't there that year, but I think it was up there 2015 or 2016 that year. I don't remember. I feel like he finished 2nd or 3rd, something like that.
Yeah, he'd always been close, but he hadn't won it, and he finally got it.
That's awesome. I'm sure the family was extremely excited to be able to get that victory.
Yeah.
That's cool. So as far as this coming season, what's your guys' plans as far as where you're going to run at?
Well, we're gonna hit around home here, and then I finally talked my dad into we're gonna go hit some of the Hell Tour. So
yeah,
we're gonna go out there for at least a week or two and see and have a little fun on it.
Yeah.
So they only take your 9 nights now. So you don't have to stay on it the whole 28 days or whatever. So
right.
If you can go out and run good, you have a pretty good shot at it.
Nice.
So.
Well, that'll be a good time.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of them guys will try to go to all. How many is it? 28? Is that
28,
what you said?
yeah.
That's a lot of nights.
Yeah.
I mean, It don't get its name for no reason, that's for sure.
No.
So at 13 years old, you guys decided to jump into modified. Where were you guys running at as far as your first track when you got behind the wheel in a modified?
Bloomington.
Bloomington.
Yeah.
First night out, Bloomington Speedway. So what was that like?
It was different to go from my old street stock to something that had a lot more movement in the rear end, So it was definitely a handful, So
Right.
I started on the tail my first night, and I did fair.
Yeah.
I made the race, and Dad asked me the next weekend. He's like, "Hey, you think you can start this?" And I don't know. And we drawed on the front row of it, and it was actually me and Ryan Thomas. And
is that right?
I went on to win the heat race, so my dad was pretty pumped up.
Well, I bet.
I think we ran third or fourth in the feature that night. So
well, that's pretty impressive. I mean, it sounds like jumping into the modifieds, you done really well, especially for the age that you was. I mean, most guys, it takes a while to kind of get those kind of cars under your, full control, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of radical.
Yeah, I started out in the clamp car, so I think maybe that was, a little to help me. It wasn't as radical as, some of the other things. So.
Right. So, you guys got 89 wins in the modified. I mean, that's incredible. And where all would you say that the most of those wins came from? Right here in probably Putnamville or Brownstown. I don't know how many shows you've won at either one of the tracks.
I can't say that. I've won at every place I went to. The only place I haven't won a feature at would be Eldora.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
So I had the record there at Lawrenceburg for winning 10 in a row.
Wow.
In 1 year. So
they were ready to put a bounty on you.
They had one on me.
Yeah.
So it's good. So I can't say that I've won them all in one place, but I've won my fair share there, Putnamville.
Yeah.
So I just, we've won a little bit of everywhere. So
that's great because, a lot of guys aren't that fortunate. You take Brownstown, for instance. There's guys that have raced there for many, many of years and never got a win. Yeah. So to have a bounty on you at Lawrenceburg, I mean, that had to be a great feeling. I mean, I've seen it, time with Gilpin at Brownstown and a lot of other drivers, of course, too. Yeah. But when that happens, it gives the fans a lot more, enjoy to watch the race and hope that he's going to get it or not get it. Of course, there's a lot of guys that are not always your fan and not want to see you win just because you win so much. Yeah. So that does happen, but that's when you're doing good.
Oh yeah, that's you just got to take it with what it is and go on and
right.
Not let them get to you, because everybody has their own person that they like. So
right.
They don't like everybody. So.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, growing up, Grandpa, of course, he'd, pretty well win a lot of the nights he was going somewhere. And you'd always, as a child, sitting in the grandstands, you'd hear people booing and throwing stuff. And it's, as a child, you think, wow, what's wrong with these people? But as you get older, you start realizing that some people just don't have that much sense.
Yeah.
But, it's neat watching the bounties come out on drivers that are performing really well and on top of their game and just completely dominating. And when you're on top on a level like that against the competition that we run against on a weekend basis, I mean, it's got to be an incredible feeling knowing that you're at the top of your game. So you guys have done that and done quite well doing it. So looking back over all these years and 89 wins in a modified, what would you say has been the most memorable win to you or memorable race to you?
There'd have to be two. One would have to be the night I won the Harley race.
Yeah.
And then when we lost Josh Burton there, and I wrapped my car to look like his, and I won the first annual Burton Memorial. So that's high up there, and it'd be hard to knock it off.
I bet.
So.
Especially growing up together and running karts together and first year in a super stock together.
Yeah, we've been friends for quite some time, and we don't live far. We didn't live far from each other, so
right.
We always hung out, and his family's friends with mine, and still to this day,
Yeah,
so.
And I believe, there's a lot of race cars out there, but his father's business was always on your guys' car too. And that's that's really cool to be able to see that. And yeah, I mean, you guys have got a lot of history together, and to win that race would have had to been an emotional roller coaster, I'm sure, to be able to pull that off. I'm sure that was a rush.
Not only that, it was my first ever win I'd ever won at Bloomington. I
Yeah.
had never won one at Bloomington, and I won his race, and that was my first win at
That's
Bloomington.
great.
So
Yeah.
it was pretty eye jerking, you could say.
Oh, I bet. I can only imagine. Yeah, and Bloomington, it's a fun place to race at, and going into Bloomington, seeing their schedule come out this season, they're going to have some shows up there. That's great, and they're putting new bleachers in and getting things put in place. And Spiker and his crew they're going to have their hands full. Are you guys planning on running Bloomington any this coming season?
Yeah, we're going to run Bloomington, and then he'll have his off nights where he don't run Bloomington and runs Paragon. So
yeah.
we'll go to both.
Both? Nice.
See.
You guys ran Paragon last summer, I take it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we ran 5 or 6 races up there, and I think we won 4. So,
Nice.
So we had a pretty good run up there.
Yeah, and to me it seemed like a great timing for him to be able to get, what he done with Paragon in such a short amount of time. I mean, they done the new pit booth where you pay to get in, and lighting, and just really putting a lot of time and effort into the place, and just having a good program and getting you in and getting you out. I mean, it was definitely time for that place to kind of get whipped into shape. It's been there for years, and it's great that someone was able to, get it going in the way it needed to be. And now that he's going to be able to run Bloomington, I mean, 3 tracks, it's going to be great for all us racers and the fans. So it's definitely nice to see Bloomington getting as many shows as they are compared to what happened last summer, of course. But do you guys ever make your way over to Terre Haute much, or?
We have.
Yeah.
We don't go there as much, because they seems like they run that kind of weird schedule, through the week or a Sunday, and so it's hard with work. So
right. Yeah, it is. It generally is kind of like you said, kind of an off day.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't really get the car count that I'd like to see them get.
Yeah.
I personally, I'd say Terre Haute's probably one of my favorite tracks, honestly. I don't know what it is about that place. I guess the long straightaways.
Yeah.
It's fun. High speeds, of course. But, yeah, I'd like to see higher car counts when you go. There's nothing worse than showing up to a track and only having, 12 or 14 cars. It just kind of takes a lot of the fun out of it. But I don't think it'd matter if there was only 2. I'd still go out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely fun, Terre Haute is.
Right. So who would you say in the modifieds has been one of your favorite competitors?
I probably got a couple of them, Gilpin, he was always fun to run with,
Right.
You knew if he was there was a race. And
That's right.
not only him, but Hoffman, Nick,
Yeah.
he's always a contender, so it's always fun to be able to run with them guys. And if you can run with them, and even though if they still beat you and you just run second to them, you still done something. So
Right. Yeah, that's definitely Devin and Hoffman and Tyler Nicely, all these guys that, I mean, you've been able to compete against them guys and win. So when you can do that, that's, there's probably not too much of a better feeling when you're running against guys on that level. So you guys basically are, working in the pits on the new car as far as switching over. Who you guys try to go to for advice on setups if you need any ideas to bounce anything off of someone else running your guys' chassis? Is there anybody you guys are running elites with that you kind of compare notes with, or?
Not really, Nick's really good at helping us, and I'm sure he's good with helping everybody,
Yeah.
And he gave us a baseline setup, and we were
It's
good out
worked
the
out.
gate.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's great. I mean, it seems like, like you said, the first night out in that new car, you guys got to win, right?
Yeah.
So that had to be like, all right, we're good.
Yep.
Now we just need to make our fine little adjustments and get it where you liked it, and just keep dominating. So how many shows did you guys run in 2019? Do you know?
Yeah,
roughly?
we only got to run 22 races. So.
22 shows.
Yep.
And out of those 22 shows, you guys probably had a lot of top fives, I'm sure.
Yeah, we had a
Several
couple of
wins.
DNS.
Yeah.
We had 10 wins.
10 wins in 2019.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good season. 22 shows and win 10. I mean, I know I wouldn't be complaining about that. I know I've definitely had a lot worse than that. So, you guys are planning on sticking local for the most part, but as far as getting out to some big shows this coming season, do you guys like to try to leave on like a Friday and run somewhere and try to go somewhere the next night and just stay out on the road? Or
Yeah, we do it, occasionally, but we kind of like to get back home and work on our car there in the garage. It's hard to work on them out on the road. So if you can be within a couple hours from home, we'll try
just
to
come
shoot
back
back home.
Yeah. I knew you guys had your big rig last season, but I thought for sure I seen it up for sale, so I didn't know if you guys were just kind of wanting to get back to like a dually and a enclosed, or you guys just going for something different this coming season, or
I was trying to get away from the lift gate.
Yeah.
It's it's just me and Ashley and Gideon, and so it's hard to get off work on a Friday and go home and load a car by yourself, when everybody's
Yeah.
still at work. So I was trying to just go back to the stacker, and just a stacker inside. So it's a lot easier for me
Yeah.
to work on. I ain't got to worry about losing my car off the back of it. So
Right.
that
Seems like there's been a few drivers I've talked to in this off season that are kind of thinking the exact same route.
Yeah.
Just kind of, you guys got to, I'm assuming you guys probably got to do the loading tires to get it in there. And
No, I don't. I got lucky and found a trailer that was tall enough that
yeah,
I don't have to put no load tires on mine. That was my goal when I was looking for a trailer, is
yeah.
not have to change everything after the race. I can
Yeah.
just push it in and go home.
I know some of the guys, you watch them and it's like you look back and an hour later they're still trying to get it in the box.
Yeah.
But of course, those bad nights, whenever you bend something or tear the heck out of the car, it can be a chore getting them in the box anyways.
Yeah.
A lot of times an open trailer don't sound too bad.
No. That's where I started out. So
Yeah.
sometimes I still got it. So it's like you always look at it and say, man, I'd just go back to that. It'd be easier. But it's nice, for mom and dad and just everybody to,
Yeah.
the people that work on it, just be able to go in there and use the bathroom or get them something to eat or cool
Right.
off if they need to. So it makes it nice. at
Oh,
the
yeah,
track.
especially if you guys are going to be running the Hell Tour.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah. It seems like, in the summertime you get so hot and you just get dehydrated.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it'd be nice to have a place to go and cool off and kind of get your thoughts together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all get to where we get to run around the pit so hard you sometimes forget to take a minute and just sit down in front of the fan and cool off. But we ended up breaking down, putting an air conditioner in our enclosed last summer, and it was like we still found ourselves not ever turning it on. It was funny because I think somebody kept making comments about it to us. I think it was my son. He was like, "So why are you guys not?" And it's like, well, we keep the back door open so much that it's like you just lose everything you're doing. So, you guys clearly have gotten a heck of a reputation as far as being a top competitor at Brownstown, and always local tracks and running the big shows. And I mean, the Lawrenceburg deal, I mean, that's huge right there. And you guys have a lot of fans, and the sponsors that are on the car this summer, as far as Milk and Smiles.
Yeah.
And then is that basically all you'll have on the car? Or?
No, I got quite a few product sponsors. We got Bilstein Shocks, Swift Springs, Earnhardt Technology, Simpson. There's quite a few of them, that makes it where I can do what I do, and it's they're a big help. Jones Pulleys, there's so many that it's hard to remember
You about
them
have
all,
to have
you know?
pictures of the car in front
yeah.
of you to remember them.
So it's just...
So if anyone wanted to reach out to you guys to try to get on board with you, what would be the best way for them to reach out to you?
Social media, you
Yeah.
know, that's our biggest. And I have a website that
Yeah.
I you know, they keep up on, you know, so they could go on there at DerrickGroomer.com, so,
Okay.
and reach me there, so.
Well, there you go. Well, that's good. I'm sure that helps out a lot. I'll have to check that out for sure. Because, you know, there's a lot of companies out there or individuals that would like to get their name on the car,
Yeah.
and sometimes they don't know what the best way is to reach out to guys. And your situation's pretty, you know, unique, having a car owner for this coming season and, you know, being able to jump on board with, you know, the Milk and Smiles team. I mean, that's definitely going to get your name out. So. Yeah. And like I said, your guys' car, I mean, even if you get damaged the week before, it comes back in the pits looking good next week. I mean, you guys have always got everything looking nice, and nobody wants to put their name on something that don't look good.
You know, I take 3 or 4 hours to wash my car every night, you know, so it's hard, and I don't like it when it looks all bent up. It's just,
right.
I've always been picky about my car, and, you know, like you said, it's you always want to roll there with everybody's name looking good on your car and
right.
make them proud and make
That's
them proud
right.
to be on the side of it. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when, you know, the cars are on the track, the kids that are in the stands and the families that are watching as far as fans, they see those names and it sticks in your head.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember as a kid seeing, of course, everyone had open trailers back then, but there were very few guys really had enclosed. And then as time progressed, everyone kind of got on the enclosed kick. So little kids didn't really get to see the cars going to the track as much as a lot of the older guys, you know, were able to grow up around the sport. But so really the only time you're seeing most of the cars is when they're on the track.
Yeah.
And it's one of them things to me where as a kid you get that name, you see that car, that driver that you like, and you see that and it just sticks in your head forever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can still think of guys that were racing in the late 80s and early 90s where it just sticks, you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but I mean, I remember John Gill and Jim Carrey and all these guys that, to me, are legends, and watching them guys race. And, of course, I liked them all, you know, whether Grandpa was winning or they were winning. It was really neat. But it's an awesome sport, and, you know, the fans that are out there, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't even be there. So
Yeah, true.
There's a lot that makes it all happen for all of us, and by having companies that come on board and back up the drivers and, you know, support them, it's, you know, it's great. And for you guys to be able to build such a good relationship with Daniel, I mean, that's a really cool story, because I wasn't even aware of that at all. So you guys hopefully will have an awesome 2020 race season, and you know, we look forward to competing against you. I know we've ran quite a bit together last season. Of course, that was my first year back in a modified for a long time, and there was a few nights I was lucky enough to get by you there at Brownstown, maybe twice, I think. But I knew you must have had something going on, because generally you're up there in the top 3. So it's one of them deals where whenever you feel like you got around someone that, you know, runs as well as you guys, then you think, oh man, I had a great night. And sometimes you get back and you watch the footage and it's like, he just had something going on wrong.
I get to where my dad gets on me, you know, I'll try some stuff and it's like, man, this, you know, it'll make it that much better. And nah, I went backwards. It's like, I ain't trying that no more.
Yeah.
I'm bad about that. And he's finally starting to break me of doing it. So. Yeah. It's hard to do.
Yeah, it's easy to as a driver to want to try to figure out something, or even roles reversed, and the car owner, the crew chief wanting to make adjustments, and the father and son combos, those are always great. It ain't no different than me and my dad. We go back and forth, and you get upset, and at the end of the day, you're both just trying to get better. And I wish there was an easy button as far as getting the setups down pat, but like Brownstown, you can go over there one weekend and not be too far off, and then go back the next weekend and not even make the show.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's one of them tracks where I feel like a lot of people would consider it one of the toughest tracks as far as keeping a consistent setup and being able to perform well. But what would you say is one of the most challenging tracks for you guys?
Brownstown's right up there. It's always tricky. Your car's got to have a lot of grip to get around Brownstown.
Right.
You can't. So I'd have to say probably Brownstown. Putmanville, it's one of them. It's about like Brownstown. You got to have a lot of grip up off the corner. And so you got to have a lot of left rear drive and just keep the car rolling.
Right.
So them are probably the two hardest.
Yeah, I know one weekend last summer, I'm trying to remember when it was. I think it was after the Jackson. You guys was at Brownstown. I was sitting in the stands. We didn't even take the car. And, man, you guys were rolling hard that night. I mean, that thing looked like it was on rails. Something about the way you guys had that thing rolling around the track. It looked like right front frame row was just a quarter inch above the track surface. Yeah. I mean, it was really looking good. And you were just cruising. So, yeah, I look forward to seeing how 2020 season goes for you guys, and wish you guys the best of luck. And hopefully, you guys have a good, safe summer and run well and get another, what do you need, like 11 wins and you'll hit 100?
It'd be nice.
Yeah, so I'd say you get her done.
It'd be nice to, so we've been, working on our stuff and playing with new things, and so we're
look forward to it.
We're pumped up for 2020. So.
That's good. And car about ready?
Yep, we ordered us a new one, so
nice.
We'll go from there and
there you go.
See what happens.
Where's the first track you guys plan on hitting?
We're gonna go to Brownstown, try to hit the icebreaker there at the beginning of the year. So
we'll be there. We'll definitely be watching you. So I think that pretty much wraps up this episode of Off the Track. Again, I thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So that concludes this episode of Off the Track. If you have not already liked us on Facebook, be sure and check us out. Also, you can check us out at bluechiptech.net or give us a call at 1-812-807-7050. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Be sure and watch next week. We got another episode coming out next Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Thanks and have a good evening.